January 9, 2007. Jim Balsillie watched from a distance as the world shifted beneath his feet. On a stage in San Francisco, Steve Jobs stepped forward to make his announcement. Today, Apple is going to introduce 3 revolutionary products. In Balsillie's hands sat a BlackBerry. Its rows of physical keys, solid and familiar. Across the screen, Jobs continued. An iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator. 3 things in one. A smartphone with no keyboard, nothing but a touchscreen. What was going through Balsillie's mind in that moment? According to later accounts, he didn't see it as a threat. Business customers need a physical keyboard. You can't type emails on a touchscreen. His conviction wasn't without reason. From 2007 to 2009, BlackBerry was unstoppable. It was capturing market share at a blistering pace in the US smartphone market, the undisputed standard of the business world. At its peak in 2009, it commanded nearly 50% of the market. The US government, the White House, Fortune 500 companies. Everyone ran on BlackBerry. Barack Obama, then a US senator, was among its most devoted users. When he assumed the presidency in 2009, his security team pushed for a switch to a different device. He refused to let it go, and in the end, a compromise was reached. A restricted version of BlackBerry stayed in his hands. This was the landscape of a champion. BlackBerry's dominance was no accident. Co-founder Mike Lazaridis was a genius. The push email technology he invented was nothing short of revolutionary for its time. The instant a message arrived, the device would vibrate. Replies were typed with 2 thumbs. Encrypted, protecting even the most sensitive corporate secrets. Wall Street traders, White House aides, Silicon Valley executives. Everywhere you looked, people were hammering away at their BlackBerries with their thumbs. The media coined a term for the addiction, crackberry, and it entered the cultural lexicon. Like a drug, people simply could not put their BlackBerries down. This was the golden age of a champion. But the week after the iPhone announcement, according to the book Losing the Signal, Balsillie said this: "This is not a threat." His logic was clean and simple. The iPhone is $499. That's too expensive for enterprise. The touchscreen is too cumbersome. Business users want to type with their thumbs. Apple has integrated the hardware and OS, but they still depend on carriers for the network. And then came the line that defined everything. Our customers need a keyboard. He was certain of it. Lazaridis, the technical mind of the partnership, saw it the same way. A touchscreen keyboard produces too many errors. It can't be integrated into enterprise IT systems. His analysis was technically accurate. The first-generation iPhone was, in fact, riddled with problems. Number 3G support. Enterprise security features were barely there. The claimed 8-hour talk time quickly gave way to widespread complaints about battery life in real-world use. Lazaridis said it plainly. This is a toy. And here lies the cruel irony of fate. The executives at BlackBerry weren't wrong. They had analyzed the iPhone's technical weaknesses with precision. But they had missed something essential. What Jobs actually unveiled was not a smartphone. What he declared was the experience of an iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator all in one. Maps, music, the web, email, apps. A future where everything lived inside a single device. The BlackBerry executives looked at the spec sheet. But the future Jobs could see that they could not. July 2008, Apple launched the App Store. In just 3 days, 10 million apps were downloaded. Games, cameras, maps, dictionaries, shopping. Tens of thousands of developers began building for the iPhone. This is where BlackBerry fell decisively behind. They had no concept of an ecosystem. Build the hardware, and people will buy. That was the BlackBerry philosophy. But what Apple built was a platform. With every new app, the value of the iPhone grew exponentially. Fall 2008. BlackBerry fired back at the iPhone with its first touchscreen device, the Storm. It was a disaster. The screen would freeze. Touch accuracy was poor. Performance was sluggish. The New York Times tore it apart. The Wall Street Journal was equally brutal. This was the moment BlackBerry's fundamental misunderstanding was laid bare for the world to see. The touchscreen was never a hardware problem. It was a problem of software, of philosophy. From 2010 into 2011, the numbers were merciless. Android and iPhone surged across global markets, and BlackBerry's share collapsed. Depending on the source, Gartner or IDC, its share had fallen to somewhere between the low single digits and the low teens. What was Lazarus seeing when he looked at those numbers? He was an engineer. He believed in the laws of physics. He believed in engineering superiority. But Jobs was no engineer. He was a designer, a dreamer. People don't know what they want until you show it to them. And true to those words, the world had moved on. January 22nd, 2012. The two co-CEOs announced their resignations. Jim Balsillie, Mike Lazaridis, the two men who had taken BlackBerry to the top of the world, stepped quietly off the stage. What were they thinking that day? The record doesn't tell us, but their faces must have told the story. The end of an era. 2013. BlackBerry made one final bet. BlackBerry 10. A new OS, fully touchscreen capable. The App Store, rebuilt from the ground up. But the world had already made up its mind. The App Store had over 1 million apps. Google Play was racing toward the same scale. BlackBerry 10 launched with roughly 70,000 apps. The developers had already left. The users had already moved on. It was too late. The future that had gone unseen in 2007, it was standing right here, right now. September 2016. BlackBerry announced it would cease all in-house hardware development and manufacturing. According to Gartner, its global market share in Q4 2016 was less than 0.1%. For all practical purposes, the number was 0. In 2009, this was a champion with nearly 50% of the market. In just 7 years, it had fallen this far. But BlackBerry did not disappear. Automotive OS QNX and enterprise cybersecurity. Those two became its new battlegrounds, and BlackBerry reinvented itself as a software company. Today, BlackBerry's QNX is embedded across automotive OEMs worldwide, supporting the world as invisible infrastructure. And in January 2022, core services for legacy devices were shut down completely. Even the ability to make calls fell silent. On that day, the story of BlackBerry as the king of smartphones came to a final, complete close. So what can we learn from the story of BlackBerry? Here, there are two profound ironies. The first, BlackBerry listened to its customers too well. Business users need a physical keyboard. Touchscreens are too hard to use. Those voices were real. Customers genuinely said those things. But customers don't always know what they want, because you can't ask for something you've never seen. The second, technical superiority does not guarantee market dominance. BlackBerry's technology was the real thing. But what Jobs was watching was not a competition of specs. It was an ecosystem. Once a platform takes root and grows, competitors can no longer catch up. This was the future BlackBerry could not see. Now let me put a question to you. History only tells us the outcome, but those living through it never know how it ends. If you had been in BlackBerry's boardroom in 2007, would you have recognized the iPhone as a threat? But right now, is the same thing happening in your industry? That technology that looks like a toy, it may already be preparing to swallow your entire market whole. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for joining me on this journey. On this channel, we relive the decisions and failures of legendary companies and giants of history, companies like BlackBerry, and extract the strategies that still apply today. Why does technical superiority fail to guarantee market dominance? What is the true nature of ecosystems and platforms? If timeless wisdom like this speaks to you, consider subscribing and turning on notifications. There are still many stories ahead that can inform your next decision. Until next time,